Welcome everyone to Evolve Every Day. Today, we're embarking on a profound journey, delving into the very essence of what makes us unique as humans, our fundamental mindset. This isn't just about what you know, it's about how you think, how you process the world, and how you approach every challenge. Mastering this foundational way of thinking is absolutely crucial because it shapes your entire pattern of thought, your actions, your capabilities, and ultimately your destiny. So stick with us through this video, and indeed through this entire 7-part series, because by the end, you'll unlock perspectives that could truly transform your life. There are so many insights waiting for you, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single one. At its core, fundamental thinking is all about understanding the basic operating principles of things. Legendary investor Warren Buffett once said, "If you want to truly understand the world, a great way is to deeply understand your own field." His advice is simple yet incredibly powerful. Dig deep, master its fundamental rules, and when you do, grasping other fields will become astonishingly easy. What Buffett was really getting at is this: if you haven't quite figured out the world yet, it's likely because you haven't dug deep enough into your own chosen path. It's only when you unearth that foundational layer of thinking within your own domain that you can truly see through to the universal truths of the entire world. This fundamental way of thinking, this operating law of things, has been recognized across cultures and ages. It's akin to what Confucius called Li, or principle, what Laozi referred to as Tao, or the way, and what the Buddha termed prajna, or wisdom. The profound teachings of Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism are, at their heart, about these fundamental laws, and that's precisely what makes them so enduring and great. While every field in the world boasts its own specialized knowledge, and the world itself is brimming with countless pieces of information, here's the beautiful secret. The fundamental layers of thinking across different fields are deeply interconnected. The closer you get to this core, foundational thinking, the simpler these laws become. Why? Because these fundamental rules transcend specific professions. They are universal truths that flow through everything. So remember this powerful truth. No matter what profession you're in, if you simply master the fundamental rules of that particular field, you'll find yourself able to see clearly through many other areas of life and work. Knowledge might be divided into specialized fields, but the underlying laws and the very essence of things are not. They are intertwined. When you truly grasp the fundamental laws of the world, it's like suddenly gaining a new superpower. You can see the vast ocean in a single drop of water, discern an entire forest from one tree, and perceive a sprawling desert in just a grain of sand. With this incredible ability, you'll be able to see through the very nature of things, moving freely and confidently between different fields and disciplines. First, logic. The relationship between fundamental thinking and thought patterns. Someone who has truly mastered these fundamental laws will demonstrate it through a remarkably open and healthy thought pattern. There's an old saying, without deep thought, all efforts are futile. But in an equally profound sense, if you don't possess a healthy thought pattern, even the deepest thoughts can become utterly useless. The healthiest thought pattern, the one that unlocks true potential, can be powerfully summarized in just 2 words: dialectical thinking. So, what exactly is dialectical thinking? Truly skilled individuals possess a way of thinking that mirrors the elegant balance of the yin-yang symbol. This yin and yang within their thought process represents their ability to grasp the 2 seemingly contradictory aspects of any situation, and then, crucially, to find both the inherent opposition and the harmonious unity between these 2 sides. Let me give you some examples. What is love? It's expressing your kindness in the way the other person genuinely needs, not trying to force what you believe is good onto them. What is communication? It's articulating your reasoning in the other person's language, rather than just using your own jargon to present your thoughts. What is a constructive debate? It's using the other person's logic to support and prove your own points, instead of solely relying on your own framework to assert your correctness. What is effective selling? It's making the customer feel that they are truly benefiting, rather than simply trying to sell them something you think is cheap. What is true likability? It's making others feel exceptional and valued in your eyes, instead of constantly trying to prove how good or skilled you are. What is genuine understanding? It's seeing an issue from the other person's perspective, rather than exclusively through your own personal viewpoint. Truly skilled individuals always know how to see right through to the other person, their needs, their language, their logic, their feelings, their strengths, and their overall perspective. They instinctively combine their own values with the other person's needs, blend their reasons with the other person's language, and align their views with the other person's logic. This is the very essence of combining yin and yang, meeting that harmonious yin-yang standard of dialectical thinking. If you consistently stand only on your own perspective when you communicate, or if you constantly focus solely on proving yourself in social interactions, it will only make others defensive and guarded. That's no longer a harmonious yin-yang combination. It becomes a state of singular yin or singular yang, and neither is compatible with true dialectical thinking. The world, in all its complexity, constantly exists in a state of opposing yin and yang. Dialectical thinking is beautifully reflected in age-old proverbs like, "Every cloud has a silver lining," or "After the storm comes the calm," reminding us that good often follows bad. It's in sayings like, "Be prepared for danger in times of peace," urging us to anticipate change. Or the timeless parable of the old man and his horse, sometimes called Sai Weng's horse, which masterfully illustrates how what appears to be bad fortune can turn out to be a blessing, and vice versa, teaching us about the unpredictable nature of luck. Second logic, the ability to acquire knowledge is more important than the knowledge you possess. A truly powerful fundamental thinker demonstrates their strength by no longer being constrained by knowledge, but rather transcending it. Bruce Lee, during his journey to develop Jeet Kune Do, famously understood that what has been learned is also what has been lost. He meant that the very knowledge and skills you master need, in a sense, to be forgotten, not discarded, but integrated so deeply that you operate beyond conscious reliance on them. Learning is incredibly important, of course, but don't ever become a slave to it. Don't constantly try to rely solely on external things like accumulated knowledge and specific skills. Only when you overcome that dependence on what you've learned can you truly become their master. When you do, you'll be able to maintain a state of perfect mind-body harmony, moving freely and effortlessly like a flowing stream. The best way to truly help someone is by liberating their thinking, breaking the chains of their perception, and offering enlightenment so they can find their own answers rather than just handing them the solutions. There's a saying, it's better to teach someone how to think than to simply spoon-feed them information. Directly giving people answers is akin to stripping them of their right to think for themselves. Someone who gets used to always seeking answers from others without ever engaging in independent thought will eventually lose the ability to reason. Any teacher, book, or class that merely provides ready-made methods or answers is, frankly, mediocre. A mediocre classroom is one where the teacher constantly offers solutions, leaving students with no need to think. In stark contrast, an excellent classroom is where the teacher continuously poses questions, encouraging students to discover the answers themselves, thereby sharpening their critical thinking skills. Many people, lazy in their thinking, constantly hope to find external methods, much like searching for a universal key to solve every problem without any effort or personal growth. This is a clear sign of seeking shortcuts and shirking responsibility. True methods only emerge when awareness is elevated to a certain level, and they are discovered through diligent practice and lived experience. No matter how brilliant a teacher or a successful person might be, they can only offer suggestions. The real method, the profound understanding, must be embraced by you and you alone. We need to diligently master knowledge and skills, but ultimately, we must learn to let go of them. As the Diamond Sutra wisely states, all conditioned phenomena are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a shadow, like dew or a lightning flash. Thus, they should be regarded. This means all written methods are like ephemeral illusions, not permanent, capable of dissolving at any moment. We need to grasp the essence, not cling rigidly to the methods themselves. The Tao Te Ching opens with the powerful line, "The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao." This implies that no method can be articulated with absolute precision. Even if we try to explain it, once it's expressed, its absolute accuracy diminishes. Yet, it's truly unfortunate that methods and skills are precisely what most of us pursue day in and day out. Only when you grasp the fundamental principles will all surface manifestations seem like fleeting illusions, granting you profound insight into everything. The third logic, an extraordinary person must go through 3 steps. Step 1. Accept your own mediocrity. Step 2. Seek stillness within your soul. Step 3. Discover your own extraordinariness. However, the majority of people never make it past the first step because they mistakenly believe they are already extraordinary. If someone cannot admit their own mediocrity, they will never be able to truly discover their unique extraordinariness. The same principle applies to parents. When parents genuinely accept their children's perceived ordinariness, they will, paradoxically, uncover their children's true extraordinariness. This is the fairest law bestowed upon humanity by nature itself. Similarly, there are 3 levels of wisdom. First, discover the ignorance of others. Most people in the world are just ordinary folks. They laugh, talk, get angry, are greedy, and are deluded. They stubbornly cling to their beliefs, convinced they are always right. To perceive the ignorance of others, we need a deep, insightful understanding of human nature. Second, discover your own ignorance. Recognizing the ignorance of others is merely a foundational level of wisdom. To truly see your own ignorance, you need a far higher degree of self-awareness. Admitting your own ignorance requires not only immense wisdom, but also tremendous courage. The more a person knows, the larger the world of the unknown becomes for them. They constantly see themselves as a frog in a well, gazing up at the starlit sky, yearning to transcend the limits of their perception. As Socrates famously said, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Third, live in harmony with ignorance. Discovering the ignorance of others and of oneself is profound wisdom. But this very wisdom can also become the greatest chain binding us. Whether or not one can break free from this chain determines whether they can live a truly happy life. Many people, upon reaching this stage, become arrogant and seek to detach from the world. However, the greatest wisdom is not in discovering ignorance, but in accepting it. Acceptance means being perpetually willing to humble your ego, to be able to communicate and live harmoniously with absolutely anyone. This is the state of egolessness. When the ego finally dissolves, we will be liberated from all the suffering in this world. The fourth logic. There are 2 paths to seeing the truth of the world. The first is that you must be intelligent enough. When someone is intelligent enough, they can maintain rationality and composure when facing the vastness of the world, capable of seeing through layers of information to perceive pitfalls and avoid manipulation. The second is that you must be kind enough. When someone is kind enough, they can deeply empathize with the pain of others, naturally feeling compassion for the vulnerable, and from that place, they can truly experience the genuine world. The difference between the two is profound. Intelligence is often an innate gift, something we're born with and rarely able to change. Kindness, however, is a deliberate choice, a decision we can make at any moment, even in the blink of an eye. The challenge is that choosing kindness is, in many ways, harder than being intelligent. Wise, thoughtful, engaging to some, but the conscious decision to be kind demands that we actively resist tempting shortcuts and selfish impulses. If we're not careful, our own brilliance can actually lead us astray, subtly influencing the choices we make in ways we might not even realize. In this vast world, true genius is a rare commodity, possessed by only a precious few. For most of us, for ordinary people just trying to navigate life, the most reliable path to genuine insight and understanding isn't through extraordinary intellect, but through the simple, powerful act of kindness. Logic 5. Sometimes letting go and stepping back is far wiser than a relentless chase. It feels like making a living is getting tougher every day. Everyone is desperately searching for a way out, a quick fix. The most heartbreaking part is that we'd rather pour our energy into finding new shortcuts and hacks than genuinely investing in our own growth and self-improvement. We'd prefer to use our cleverness to experiment with flashy new tactics instead of focusing on truly refining our products and services. Think about it. Live streams, e-commerce sales, short-form videos, these are all just new ways to sell. Yet so few people are actually dedicated to developing a truly valuable product. Even fewer are willing to deeply immerse themselves in learning and mastering their craft. The ironic truth is, by constantly chasing these fleeting trends, they often find it harder to earn a consistent income, and this is simply an inevitable consequence of societal evolution. Why does the universe sometimes seem to punish a fisherman who can't catch fish? Because it's only when they are utterly unable to catch anything that they're forced to retreat, reconsider, and pivot their entire approach. Why are more and more people experiencing anxiety and stress, yet still struggling financially? It's because the old model of growth was often too brutal, where only the most unscrupulous and daring individuals seem to strike it rich. Once a cat has tasted fish, it can never truly forget that delicious flavor, and the thief, once they've experienced a rush of easy money, develops a dangerous sense of luck and loses all desire for honest, hard work. Logic #6, unlocking your greatest happiness. How should a person's inner structure of abilities and values be organized to achieve the deepest possible happiness? The ideal structure for maximum happiness looks like this. Your highest priority should be profound awareness or insight, followed by strong capabilities. Next comes material possessions, and finally, your desires should be at the absolute bottom. This carefully balanced structure is what truly delivers the highest levels of lasting happiness. Tragically, the vast majority of people invert this pyramid. Their desires are at the top, followed by possessions, then capabilities, and their awareness is at rock bottom. This inverted structure is precisely why they endure so much suffering and live in a constant state of unease. Logic number 7, the unexpected comfort of shared struggle. Don't try to lecture someone who's hurting. It only makes them feel more pathetic and alone. When someone comes to you seeking comfort, they're often indirectly asking, "Am I really that messed up?" In those moments, you only need to help them understand two vital things. First, life is inherently tough for everyone. Just look around. Who isn't grappling with some form of hardship? Second, my shiny facade is just that, a facade. The truth is, I'm probably more messed up than you are. When they hear this, a profound sense of relief washes over them. They feel less alone, less like a failure. If you try to comfort them with condescending pity, saying things like, "Oh, tomorrow will be better, you'll be fine just like everyone else," they'll only feel worse. Such platitudes simply reinforce their sense of failure. This is a deep human truth. I can acknowledge my own struggles, but I can't always admit outright failure. What I really need to see is that everyone struggles. Only then can I truly find peace. It turns out there are so many people in the world who are even worse off than me. Why should I feel sad then? I should secretly feel lucky. In essence, not every person who experiences setbacks is looking for pity or sympathy, and not every struggling individual is ready to face the raw truth. Many would rather live in self-deception, wrapped in the comforting illusion of their own self-soothing stories. Logic 8. The most expensive things are often free. Why do e-commerce giants and digital payment apps burn money on massive initial promotions and giveaways? It's all about giving consumers that initial rush, that feeling of a small win, a great deal. But once those consumers are thoroughly hooked, unable to leave the platform, and the market becomes monopolized, that's when they'll force you to pay double the original price. Why are so many products initially sold at a loss? Why do we say that free is often the most expensive? Why is profit consistently deferred to later? It's all for this very reason. Every time we feel like we're getting a fantastic deal, the day will inevitably come when we have to pay back double. This universal law applies not just to businesses and customers, but also to relationships between colleagues, friends, and even partners. Who truly knows you better than you know yourself? AI anticipates what you want to buy. Your messaging apps know what you're talking about. TikTok understands what you're watching. Your food delivery apps know what you crave. Google knows what you search for. Your travel apps know where you want to go. In the future, perhaps each of us will become completely transparent. Every single action, every day, will be precisely recorded. Where you went, what you did, who you met, your annual income, how much tax you paid, whether you had any illicit earnings. Every single one of your assets will be laid bare. The only thing we can truly do is strive to be good people, to live with integrity and authenticity. That, my friends, is the most powerful passport any of us can ever carry. Let's dive into the 9th powerful insight, the stark contrast between brainwashing and genuine education. Imagine walking into a place buzzing with loud, energetic music, where everyone is moving in sync, chanting the same slogans, performing identical actions. Their bodies are caught in a frenzy, almost a trance. In moments like these, the brain often stops its critical thinking process. It's when your mind is being hijacked, totally controlled. That's the very definition of brainwashing. Now, picture the exact opposite. You step into a profoundly quiet space where the only sounds are hushed conversations or perhaps a single voice guiding a discussion. Everyone sits in reflective silence, their expressions varied, yet inside each mind, thoughts are racing, connections are being made, and personal answers are being sought. That quiet internal thought, that pursuit of understanding, that is true learning. The core of brainwashing, you see, is using that intense physical and emotional fervor to bypass the brain's natural tendency towards careful thought. It exploits our mental laziness. Education, on the other hand, is about creating a sacred space of stillness, allowing the brain the room it needs to truly process and reflect. Brainwashing aims to confuse and overwhelm, shutting down independent thought. Education? It's all about igniting and nurturing critical thinking, often through collaborative exploration and mutual support. Ultimately, brainwashing forces people into blind obedience, turning them into mere tools for someone else's agenda. But education, real education, empowers individuals to think for themselves, to become the masters of their own destiny. Now for our 10th profound insight. The crucial difference between simply making money and truly becoming valuable. Knowing how to make money pales in comparison to the power of making yourself inherently valuable. Earning money often feels like an external pursuit, constantly chasing after something. But becoming valuable? That's a beautiful process of internal growth and development. When you chase money, it often feels elusive. But when you become truly valuable, money starts to seek you out. Think of it this way, using a timeless analogy. Most people spend their days tirelessly chopping wood, yet they rarely, if ever, take the time to sharpen their axe. Chopping wood is that external hustle, the constant search for immediate gain. Sharpening the axe, however, is the internal work, the development of your skills and your very being. What's the real distinction between the wealthy and those who struggle? The truly successful, the genuinely wealthy, understand this principle deeply. They dedicate at least 80% of their effort to sharpening their axe, to self-improvement and developing their intrinsic worth. Then, with only 20% of their time, they can chop wood with incredible efficiency and impact. They might be quietly preparing, but when they finally act, their results are astonishing. In stark contrast, many who struggle spend 100% of their time just chopping wood. They're so focused on the immediate, short-term gain that they never stop to consider how to fundamentally enhance their capabilities. Money, at its core, is a reflection of the value you provide through your products and services. When you elevate those offerings, making them exceptional, money naturally flows to you. And what stands behind exceptional products and services? It's the mind. When an individual cultivates genuine skill, unwavering patience, and meticulous attention, they effortlessly create things of remarkable quality. Behind that powerful mind is personal cultivation, the journey of refining oneself. As a person matures and cultivates their inner self, they develop a profound sense of stability, a steady progression, and an undeniable strength of character. And what lies behind that cultivation? It's understanding the fundamental principles, the Tao, or the way, of how everything in the universe operates and evolves. When you grasp the core nature and underlying laws of change, you achieve an incredible sense of inner certainty. Human security and deep happiness often stem from this feeling of certainty. Yet, in our rapidly changing world, external uncertainty seems to be constantly on the rise. This is precisely why developing a profound self-certainty becomes your most powerful shield against the world's unpredictability. So, what does this self-certainty truly mean? Let's break it down. Are you absolutely sure you can excel at something? Are you equally sure there are things you cannot do well or areas where you need to improve? This is certainty about your capabilities. Are you sure about what you truly know? Are you just as certain about what you don't know? This is certainty about your understanding and cognition. Are you sure of your unique strengths? Are you clear about your genuine weaknesses? Are you absolutely certain about what you desire most in life? This is the clarity of your goals. What kind of person do you aspire to become? This is the clear definition of your self-identity. Are you sure about the current stage of your journey, where you stand right now? This is the honest assessment of your current state. Are you sure about the types of people you genuinely connect with, who bring out the best in you? This is the understanding of your personality and relationships. The more deeply you know and understand yourself, the more certain you become within. The less you'll find yourself rattled by the uncertainties of the world around you. Let's move to our 11th crucial point, the subtle yet destructive act of self-deception. How often do we hear people ask, does being a truly good person or always acting with a pure conscience actually lead to financial success? Interestingly, those who frequently pose this question often haven't found much success themselves. The truth is, a lack of success often stems from a lack of practical wisdom or strategic intelligence, not a lack of kindness. Yet so many people love to pin their intellectual shortcomings on their conscience. This is a fundamental error in thinking, a self-defeating loop. It's clearly an issue of insufficient acumen, but they constantly wonder if they're simply too kind-hearted for this world. It's a common, almost instinctual mistake because it's far more palatable to believe you're too good than to admit you might lack wisdom or smarts. This tendency reveals a core human trait. When faced with failure, we instinctively search for justifying reasons, anything to soften the blow and ease the feeling of defeat. At the very least, we can tell ourselves, well, at least I'm still a good person. And that, my friends, is pure self-deception. We'd rather try to prove that someone else's success came from shady tactics or underhanded dealings than honestly look inward and examine the genuine reasons for our own struggles and failures. Finally, for our 12th life-changing logic, the profound practice of understanding others by reflecting on yourself. As a parent, a truly transformative moment occurs not just when you guide your children's growth, but when you begin to extract invaluable lessons for your own life from their development. That's when real, profound education truly begins, both for them and for you. Here's a startling truth. The very things that frustrate you the most about your children, those challenging behaviors or traits, are often direct reflections of unresolved issues or areas that desperately need healing within yourself. As a teacher, when you stop just handing out answers and instead ignite your students' curiosity, letting them discover the solutions themselves, that's when true learning begins. Remember this. There are no stupid questions, only stupid answers. As a boss, when you're no longer working solely to make money for yourself, but generally striving to improve your employees' lives, that's when true leadership truly starts to blossom. As an entrepreneur, when your focus shifts from just profits to generally helping your customers solve their problems, that's when your business truly finds its purpose. The 13th logic. This is a profound form of survival logic that very few people truly grasp. Once you fully understand this mindset and apply it to your business or your family, you will unlock immense prosperity and vibrant vitality for both. Let me give you a few examples. A scorpion never thinks it's venomous. A mosquito doesn't believe it's wrong to suck blood. A fly doesn't find dirt and feces disgusting. A mouse doesn't think its food is stolen. Humans call mice bad because they take our food. But for a mouse, that's simply survival, a way to find sustenance. Humans praise bees for being diligent because they make honey for us. But for a bee, that's just a fundamental need, an instinctual drive. Whether an insect is a pest or beneficial is a classification humans make based solely on our own interests. Good or bad are labels assigned by the powerful based on their own perspective. After all, in the world of crows, a swan will always be an outsider, perhaps even a culprit. Therefore, there is no such thing as purely good or purely evil in this world. If you harm someone's interests, you become the villain in their eyes. If you align with someone's interests, you are the hero in their eyes. If you conform to the majority's perception, you'll be deemed rational. If you transcend the majority's perception, you'll be seen as irrational. Here's another perspective. Humans are the masters of Earth, and because of this, we set our own standards, define right and wrong, and establish order and rules. When a global epidemic spreads, we call it a widespread virus. But in reality, from Earth's perspective, humanity itself is the virus. Earth has existed for 4.5 billion years, while humankind has only been around for a mere 300,000 years. To Earth, humanity is just a blink of an eye. And ever since our appearance, we've relentlessly destroyed the environment, constantly disrupting Earth's ecological balance. Doesn't that make humans the true virus of Earth? The recent global pandemic, like COVID-19, could be seen as Earth's immune system at work. Perhaps Earth can no longer tolerate it, and to protect itself, it's activating its immune response to combat humanity's activities. Therefore, this world truly has no clear distinction between right and wrong, good and bad. It only differentiates between the strong and the weak. Right and wrong are always decided by the powerful. What we call good and evil are simply definitions that the strong impose based on their own interests. Rules are merely circles drawn by the powerful for the weak, telling them not to cross the line. So living in society is no different from living in the jungle. If you don't consume others, others will consume you. In society, there are only two types of people, wolves and sheep. You are either a wolf, capable of preying on sheep, or you are a sheep, simply waiting to be eaten by a wolf. Consequently, there are only two types of survival logic. The wolf's survival logic, how do I elegantly devour the sheep? The sheep's survival logic, how do I transform into a wolf by any means necessary? The 14th logic, everyone is busy making money, but not everyone has value. Today, the vast majority of people are incredibly busy, yet they lack true value. Why do they lack value? It's similar to how after online marketplaces like Amazon or eBay rose to prominence, most products became commoditized and their prices plummeted. Why? Because the products became excessively homogenized. When every product is exactly the same, why would anyone pay more for yours? Similarly, most people's lives are as thin as paper because they've become overly homogenized. The greatest tragedy in the lives of the vast majority is that from the moment they enter school until they graduate, across those 20 years, not a single teacher truly helps them understand themselves. They don't know their own personality, their strengths and weaknesses, or what they're truly suited for. Very few parents consciously encourage their children to deeply understand themselves. These adults completely overlook our innate drives and inner potential, causing us to grow up without any real distinctiveness. That, my friends, is the profound tragedy for so many. We study painstakingly for over 20 years, believing we are brimming with knowledge and ready to conquer the world. But when we step into society, we painfully realize that we are just ordinary, indistinguishable from everyone else. Today, people are becoming severely homogenized. Our talents and individuality have long been eroded. Homogenized products only lead to oversupply, but homogenized people lead to societal chaos. Without unique passions, without distinct talents, we simply follow the crowd, lacking anything truly special. Ask a child what they love, and they'll quickly rattle off a list. I love to draw, I love to sing, I love to dance, and so on. But ask an adult the very same question, and they'll likely pause, ponder, and probably take a long time to answer, if they can at all. Children typically dive into things without a second thought about the benefits. If they like it, they just do it. Adults, however, before taking any action, almost always weigh its utility, its practical value. And so, an adult's life often becomes filled with obligations and tasks that promise some kind of gain. That's the adult world, isn't it? Through their eyes, it's all about advantage, not right or wrong, not even genuine emotion. They meticulously calculate, expecting a reward for every single action. They become wary and suspicious, constantly fearing they'll be taken advantage of. Their desires weigh them down, leading to constant anxiety and a pervasive sense of melancholy. Of course, years from now, many of today's vibrant children will also grow into adults who lack hobbies, passions, or distinct talents. They'll have no particular loves, little enthusiasm for anything specific. They'll be dissatisfied with their current lives, but utterly unsure what they truly enjoy. They won't be able to find the words to describe their own existence. And so, this becomes the quiet, desperate fate for far too many, living a life of peaceful despair. However, the future is going to be profoundly different, all thanks to the internet. Passion, my friends, will become the primary driving force of productivity. Why, you ask? Because the internet has amplified the division of labor and refined society in incredible ways. With efficient information flow, human cooperation has soared, and the costs of collaboration have plummeted. Industries are fragmenting into ever smaller niches, and the human division of labor is becoming more intricate, more specialized. We can now focus intensely on what we do best, knowing that others will support us in areas where we're not as strong. This means your strengths, truly, are what determine your value. In the past, we constantly strive to compensate for our weaknesses, but moving forward, our focus will shift dramatically to leveraging our strengths. In the future, as large-scale production evolves, you'll contribute your unique talents while your weaknesses can be minimized or even concealed. Each person will cultivate their abilities and meet the needs of society. Clearly, in this new landscape, your passion is the single most critical factor. Your interests and deepest passions will determine your lifelong aspirations, your place in society, and even the very meaning of your life. Historically, a person's value was often measured by how easily they could be trained and deployed. You weren't expected to have many original ideas, you just needed to be manageable and useful. Humans were simply cogs in a larger machine. But today, to assess a person's true worth, we look at their individuality and their outstanding talents. We desperately need you to have your own ideas, to possess the ability to break free from constraints and innovate. And what fuels all of this? It's a person's passion. Only genuine love for what you do can truly unlock your deepest potential. Take someone like Leo. If Leo, a brilliant, unconventional writer, were forced into a mundane corporate job, he'd undoubtedly quit someday, probably ruffle some feathers, and end up living a life dedicated to his art, perhaps as a wandering poet. Why? Because he's a true romantic, full of poetic spirit. His natural gift and talent lie in crafting words, not crunching numbers. You might argue that a passion can't put food on the table, that people eventually have to face reality. And you'd be right, to an extent. In Leo's time, before the internet, he might have been just another struggling artist. But if he were alive today, the internet would absolutely empower him to transform his passion into immense wealth. If Leo were alive now, he wouldn't just be a writer, he would become a global phenomenon, a household name, inspiring billions of fans and earning an unimaginable fortune. The times have truly changed. Now, your passion can absolutely sustain you, and then some. Looking ahead, more and more hobbies will become viable careers, and countless passions will prove incredibly valuable. In the future, we'll simply need to focus on excelling in one specific area, and by doing so, we'll unlock a tremendous amount of productivity and innovation. In the future, who you are will matter far more than what you do. The rarer and more distinctive a person or business becomes, the greater their value. To be irreplaceable is to possess infinite worth. Humans, in the future, will become more valuable. Truly exceptional talent even scarcer. People are quickly becoming the most crucial form of capital. This scarcity of unique human talent will exponentially drive up the value of every individual. The future sees human resources transforming into human capital, emerging as the leading factor of production. Talent is now surpassing land, raw materials, and every other resource to become the most vital production element. We are finally realizing that the greatest opportunity of this era lies in discovering ourselves. The very best investment we can make is an investment in ourselves. This is such an intriguing and exhilarating conclusion. American entrepreneur Ted Leonsis made a prediction just 5 years ago that within a century, the abolition of the 8-hour workday would become a fundamental right. But with the transformative power of the internet age, this won't take a century. It's already starting to happen right now. In the past, we operated under rigid rules and systems, forcing everyone to work prescribed hours and achieve predefined goals. We were expected to conform to the organization. But in the age of the internet, we simply need to tap into our talents and pursue what we genuinely love to create value. This allows us to attain 3 vital freedoms: freedom of time, freedom of space, and financial freedom. The internet era is truly a time for humanity to return to its authentic self. We must bravely confront our inner questions. Who am I? What am I truly capable of? When each of us deeply ponders these questions, the very structure of society will undergo a massive transformation. The essence of economics is creativity, and human beings are the primary creative force. For the economy to truly thrive and gain momentum, humanity must reclaim its rightful place. Some of you might be thinking, I'm not academically gifted, I can't write well, I'm not good at intellectual work, I only know how to do manual labor or simple tasks. But here's the truth, it's not about what kind of work you do. It's about whether you possess a burning passion for that work. What kind of era awaits us in the future? It will be the best of times, a magnificent age where every individual can fully unleash their unique talents and embrace their true role. Your creativity and skills will no longer be suppressed or destroyed by the trivial demands of daily life. Whether your dream is to chop wood, tend to horses, gaze at the ocean, or travel the world, you can harness your passion and talent to live the life you've always envisioned. Yet, it will also be the worst of times. Traditional organizations will face a painful and wrenching transformation. Some individuals will struggle to adapt to these profound changes, feeling left behind and utterly disillusioned. This era is beautiful, yes, but it is also merciless. If you cannot create value, you will eventually lose your relevance. Finally, I want to leave you all with a few powerful insights. The greatest investment you can make for the future is an investment in yourself. The old theory of compensating for weaknesses is obsolete. The new paradigm is all about leveraging your strengths. Strive to become exceptional in a specific niche. Let your interests, passions, and ideals be your guiding stars. When others are rattled, remain calm. When others are clamoring, engage in deep thought. It's never too late to begin what truly resonates with you. In the times to come, we won't lack content or products. What we'll truly be short on are enduring classics. If you found these insights helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to Evolve Every Day for more transformative content, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections in the comments section below. Until next time, keep evolving.